I mean, it's like coming straight out of a horror movie. I'm pretty sure that's everybody's first thought when they first moved to Germany is like, where the hell did I just land up? Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, my name is Jenna. I am a Canadian who has been living here in Germany since 2014. If you love hearing about culture shocks between North America and Germany, then this is your channel. Make sure to subscribe and don't forget to hit that bell notification for more awesome videos coming your way soon. A lot of internationals like to talk about the typical culture shocks, you know, like walking into a grocery store and them just throwing your groceries along the belt, or I don't know, the fact that people are super upfront and honest here so much that sometimes it comes off a little bit rude. But today I am not talking about these obvious things, but things that I've learned along the way that I realize on a day-to-day basis are so different. It doesn't bother me, and I do need to say this right now because I know a bunch of you are going to be like, well, that's not true, it does exist in Germany, and that's okay. Some of these things do exist in Germany and don't exist in Canada, or vice versa. It's just what I'm about to share with you is a lot more common here in Germany than back in Canada. When I first saw these, I thought this would have been the best tool to use in the olden days, at least in Canada, when they used to take the ruler and slap your butt in school. These rulers are, I mean, you wouldn't even call them fold-up rulers, you call them Zollstock, and that's something that was very, very different for me. I have to say, we use the ones that you can pull out and not retract. I know they exist sometimes in Germany. I do have one of my own here. However, these are very, very typical. When you hire a handyman and he comes into your house, chances are he's gonna have this rather than one of the retractable ones. I'd love to know why. I find these so impractical, and every single time you have to be like, and let me just mention, I broke this one, so that's not even the actual full 2-meter Zollstock. Another one that really surprised me, and I still wonder, you guys can tell me if you've done the research or if you've heard about this information before, but a lot of time in Germany, you will find a lot of medications in boxes, and then those medications are in these plastic bubble packs, and I literally, I'll show you here, I have like a container here just like full of bubble packs. In my mind, this is a lot more unsustainable than what we do in Canada. What we do in Canada, I know guys, this does exist in Germany, but not that often. This is actually the only German plastic bottle I was able to find to show you guys what it's like in Canada. When we get a prescription medication, it's often in this little like clear red plastic container like this, and if you get something like ibuprofen or acetaminophen, then you would actually get it in a bottle like this. You simply open the cap, and usually for us we've got like this little cotton ball inside, at least in North America, and then you'll find your pills. Another one, I've actually already pre-filmed a video for you guys, and that is a tour of my German apartment. So I will be publishing that hopefully in the upcoming weeks so that you guys can take a look of what apartments are typically like here in Germany. However, one thing that I showed you guys was that my dryer was not in my bathroom, nor was it in my basement. In Canada, we tend to put our washing machine and our dryer either in the basement or in some sort of enclosed cupboard where you can't see it. Also, a lot of us tend to have these washer and dryer rooms, which are specifically dedicated to washing and drying your clothes. So here in Germany, here in the cities in Germany, it's a little bit different. We tend to put them where they fit. So you might find like communal washers and dryers in the cellar, which we'll get to in a second. And you might also find them, I don't know, in the kitchen, which I had back in Freiburg. You will find them sometimes in the bathroom, and we have it in the bedroom. I mean, I know that's not very normal, but our dryer actually didn't fit through the door of the bathroom. So when in Germany, you have to improvise a little bit. So let's talk about the cellar situation then. This is something that totally creeped me out when I first moved to Germany. I'm not gonna lie, 7 years later, it still really creeps me out. In Germany, I find it's often common not to have a basement. It's more of a cellar. And I don't know if those two terms actually define what I'm trying to explain here, but I consider a basement to be something that is fully furnished, where the kids can go down. I don't know, in Canada we like to play like air hockey, watch TV, have parties with our friends. And here in Germany, a lot of the time they use this this as really like cellar space. So you can see here my little tour of our cellar, and it is so creepy. I mean, it's like coming straight out of a horror movie. So when you first get here, I'm pretty sure that's everybody's first thought when they first moved to Germany, is like, where the hell did I just land up? And while we're still in the apartment topic, there is also something that I find a little bit strange, especially since in Germany this whole like GDPR and privacy rules are so specific and so strict. We actually have last names on our doorbells here in Germany all over the city, whether or not it's a massive city or a small city, and that I found to be rather strange because in Canada you usually don't have your name on a doorbell or on the front of your house at all. And when you go to a massive apartment building, there's often numbers. You might find this like little directory on the side which might say their last name, but I would say 95% of the time I have never, at least in Toronto, ever seen anybody's last name on a doorbell. You just have to know what number apartment they live in so that you can just dial that number and call them up on the doorbell system. Also in Germany, we put the number of the street address after the street name, where in Canada we put the number before the street name. So that always confused me a little bit. Now when I go home, I actually have the problem of, why is it before and not after? And I'm always writing the wrong address on the envelopes and just hoping that the post office figures it out. There is something in Germany called a Gartenverein, and this is because, I mean, we have a lot of big cities and people tend to have small, tiny balconies like I do. This is not saying that people don't have backyards, I guess we call them gardens in Germany, but they don't often have much space in the city. And I mean, we don't have a lot of space in the city in Toronto or anywhere in larger cities in Canada either, but I find this Gartenverein really, really cool. So it's basically like a club where you can then rent out your own garden space and your own little tiny cute little cottage hut on that space. Usually you're not allowed to sleep there, but you go there, you can have a barbecue during the day with your friends, you can garden, you can make these hochbeeten or plant like fruits and veg, whatever you want. It's your little oasis in the city to have a bit of greenery, and I thought that was a really, really cool idea. But at the end of the day, the one thing I said when I moved to Germany with my husband was, if I'm gonna give up my whole life in Canada and come over here to Germany for you, then you better find me a backyard. Finally, we are moving soon, but we do have a backyard, and I am so thrilled to have that space where it's just mine. And I love this Gartenverein idea, but I also think it's really weird just to be like sitting and hanging out with all your friends, and then you just like look over this little shrub like, hey neighbor. What about open-faced and closed-faced sandwiches? How do you eat your sandwich? In North America, I'd say probably all the time we will close our sandwich just because I find that to be extremely practical. On the other hand, a lot of Germans like to eat their sandwiches open-faced, which I found so impractical at the beginning because I found everything was like falling out. But now I find that I eat less carbs because of it and more veg or meat or whatever because I'm stacking one sandwich a lot bigger and then not having the extra bread on top, if that makes sense. And one last one, plus a question at the end for you guys. In Germany, they have the Tagesschau, and this is typically where you will find all of the news. There are a couple other channels, but it is not like North America where you flip through like every station and it is a different news channel, and they typically all politically sway one way or the other. And there's just news all over the place, and it's really, really hard to get rid of. Here in Germany, I find it really cool because you know exactly when the news is gonna come on and on exactly which channel. So I can tune in or I don't have to tune in, but I'm not absolutely swamped with media and news absolutely everywhere I go. And now my question for you, when I was talking to my husband about this topic, he said, one thing that I would totally mention is that there are speed traps in the back of cars here when you're driving on the highway or when you're driving on a road. And I've never seen it happen. I've never heard of it before. But I mean, that would definitely also be something that's entirely different here than in Canada. So I wanted to ask you guys, does that happen a lot here in Germany? For those of you who live in Germany, have you ever been caught speeding from a camera in a car from somebody ahead of you? I have so many more I could share, but that is it for today. Und wie immer, vielen, vielen lieben Dank. Bis später.